Hello and welcome to Edumate.tv. I'm CHETAN SHARMA. We learn to live and live to learn in what has become an unprecedented situation, an unprecedented pandemic, where a minor virus has created a major catastrophe, creating history across the geography of Mother Earth, and forcing us to reboot, rethink, reset before we rebuild our lives. And our lives, particularly in the world of health and in the world of education, where the best way forward is wisdom. Wisdom of past experience and wisdom of an insight into the future. And that's what makes this very special when we talk to the Vice Chancellors heading the higher education institutions of this country in our special program called the WISE Chancellor. Today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Ramesh Choudhary. He's at the helm of the AP Goyal, Shimla University. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Choudhary. What a pleasure to be connected with you. And in a way, I'm a little envious of you because here I am in New Delhi in the blistering heat and at a time when this is one of the red hot zones of coronavirus, while you are at the pristine climes and the cool weather of Shimla, where to a large extent social distancing and safety distancing is almost enforced by default. What's the update in Shimla?
It's a lovely in Shimla, Himachal has an extra edge with the environment and weather. And especially with the pandemic, when the whole world has improved their environment because of this lockdown. And we are looking a significant difference in Himachal, in a significant difference in Shimla also. And of course, compared to Delhi, we are in the safe zone, thanks to the God and to the government also. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Jairam Thakurji, was very particular to saving the Himachal, and he take a lead. And you see still with the unlock 2, the Himachal has not been reopened. Still we are very reserved with the visitors from outside, and pass is required. So that way, and our university is in very picturesque environment, and it's a lovely university having students from 28 countries and 29 states. And I'm very delighted to say we all are safe, stay at the home, and looking forward and moving forward with all restrictions and limitations.
Well, thank you for that reassurance, and we're so glad to hear those words. Every crisis, Dr. Choudhary, has an opportunity. Perhaps there's a special opportunity for places like Shimla on account of location and on account of the entire topography of that area. Simply because when you see most of the cases of coronavirus has hit urban India, so it may encourage students to go and study in places like Shimla. Do you see that as an opportunity for yourselves?
I not only see, I realized it's an opportunity. And I'm very happy to share you, at least AP Goyal Shimla University has converted into opportunity. This pandemic, as we all know, has affected all the sections of the society, and education is the most, And as per the UNESCO report, 98% of the educational institutions are shut down, are closed, and it has affected 200 plus countries. And especially the Indian education sector, we are not geared up, not ready, because still the blended learning was a very distant in the Indian education sector. But I'm very happy why I call it as an opportunity and why I call it as a blessing in disguise. Shimla University had adopted the outcome-based education system in 2019. And for achieving the outcome-based education system, we have implemented the APG. APG is basically a learning management software.
Yeah.
So we did as a pilot project from August 2019 to the December, where we feel the power of the LMS, we feel the importance of the outcome-based education system in higher educations. And then it has been decided to implement completely. So from January, we had implemented completely all learning and teaching practices were transferred to the ADIG, which is a LMS. And once in March, all in a sudden, we were forced and we were required to close down. For a time being, it was a shocking for us, and as we were moving. But then we found that we are in the most comfortable positions. 80% of our learning and teaching practice is already online. We were doing everything right from the assignment submissions to the program outcome to the course outcome. It's all were the online. So what we did, why I call it, we converted it into the opportunity, and then with the help of Google Classes and other platforms, we have been able to achieve 100% digital learning.
Quite remarkable, and thank you for bringing that with that sense of humility and honesty. And what's important, Dr. Choudhary, is that they always say that life comes a full circle, and there'll always be situations where certain people are put at an advantage and others will not. This, of course, is the time when those who build institutions, taken the effort, taken the risk and the trouble to build them in areas which were not urban, should be and have prepared themselves on the online platform for distant education, should be the beneficiaries, and that's how things even out. But on the other hand, there's also a bit of an apprehension, sir, and this I say, having spoken to students and parents, over the last 100 days, is that there is a hesitance to send students outside one state. One has the feeling that perhaps given the migrant labor crisis and given the impending parallel of a migrant student crisis, whether in India and abroad, parents are far more comfortable ensuring that their ward studies in the same state. If that be the case, that may be a bit of a disadvantage, particularly in a small state like yours. Do you see that being a threat at any point of time?
This is a challenging time for the human civilizations, basically. And everybody is suffering with the confusion, and uncertainty is prevailing. And same with the students, their parents, the mobility of the students, migration of the students, and by and large, it will be affected. Okay. But what I understand and what I would like to convey to the parents, this is the testing time for all of us. We have to show our brave face, and how we are actually meeting these challenges is very important. And in this endeavor, even the Indian regulating bodies like UGC and other regulating bodies regulating the higher education system, they have also come up with the proposals. You see, we should understand that now technology has progressed a lot, and as the UGC is the vision, if the situation is not coming normal, till normalcy is prevailing, the online teaching will continue. And there are so many things. The government of India has initiated the SWAYAM program under the Ministry of HRD. And I'm very happy that APG Shimla University has been awarded local chapter of the NPTEL Center. So what I try to convey to the parents and the students, there is nothing to be panicked, there is nothing to be worried, and you should look forward. As you have seen that in between the semester also, once this pandemic has come, we have been able to sail through. And similarly, a normalcy will definitely come. The most important thing is that once it is a hard time, the characteristic which you show, the hard work which you show is going to pay you in coming time. So this is the time, shape yourself, and at the same time, your academics should not be affected, your learning and teaching should not be affected, and there are the ways through which the Indian higher education system has come up. They are giving an opportunity, so there is nothing to be worried. And in spite of all these things, we have a very encouraging response. Of course, the international students may be a little bit affected for this year.
Yes, of course. But it's interesting that you say that, and it's interesting also that you said that you have 100% online education, which is quite brilliant, and I think inspiration for a lot of other institutes in this country. And I hope that this interview, when it reaches them, they will be inspired by what you say. But at a time when this country's biggest threat right now, the most dangerous threat to this country is not the outside, it's the inside, and it's the divide, the digital divide, because most of India is still not connected with digital infrastructure or devices. So in a scenario like that, if you have 100% online education, I mean, are you also suggesting that your students are from a particular strata of society, which is an affordable strata of society, and you're not catering to the lesser part of society? Is that a part of your strategy? Or you've ensured that those from a lesser part have actually been provided with devices? How does it work?
Especially country like India, where haves and have-nots are still there. Means, not everybody is leveraging the digital learning, and it's not practically possible. University like us may say, but there are a lot of educational institutions they are facing problems. But my answer is that I tell you, I have learned about a very good experiment done by Chhattisgarh government, and for the school education they have done, where the students are living in rural areas and they have a problem of the smartphone, they have a problem of the bandwidth, internet connectivity. And what has happened that through voice messages, the classroom lectures were recorded, and this experiment has worked to the some extent. But Chetan, I will like to tell you, once we are saying that we have been 100% achieved the digital learning, and that means that we have tried to minimize the academic loss. I'm a teacher basically, and I cannot say that digital mode and that the digital divide which we are talking is a substitute of the contact hours, is the substitute of the real class. But I see that education system, business enterprise is going to evolve where the things will be blended. And what will happen that like we are meeting today virtually, but it cannot be actually give the studio feeling. So for the time being, it may work, and we should think always that it will be a mixed one. It will be a blended kind of the things. So there are other things also. There are so many tools has been developed. Like podcast I am talking you is a very good means where the digital divide and other things we are talking, through which we can reach to the school children or children who are living in the rural area. So if there is a will, there is a way, I still believe.
Absolutely, and that's very, very thoughtful of you when you say that. Now, talk us, you of course mentioned a lot of the blessings in disguise, but I'm sure there are challenges as well. Talk us through the unique challenges for Shimla University.
Unique challenges is like that once we were talking all this technology, but we didn't have a manpower trained or suitable or faculty development programs we were doing, and we were talking about the subjects matter, we were talking about the soft skills and other things, but we were never talking about the acceptability of the technology and other things. So this is a unique challenges for the education sector. Then another thing is that if what I'm visualizing as education is, it is the best optimized model for the education systems. I have come to know that a lot of education institutions were stuck with the viva voce kind of the examinations, the post-graduation examinations, and these were stuck because of the non-availability of the time and not possibility of the experts.
Absolutely. So to overcome these challenges, Dr. Choudhary, what would be your advice to the various cross sections, A to the students, B to the parents, and C to the teachers?
My advice is that first thing is that we should overcome with the uncertainty. We always remember that after a night there is used to be a glorious morning. So the society is a little bit, I believe once you talk with the peers, they are confused, they are full of the uncertainty. So we should overcome with all these things, because this is not the first time we are facing, the human civilization is facing such a problem, earlier also. So we require to stood very strong, and we require to be very positive, and we require to understand that this is an era of social distancing but not emotional distancing. We always keep in touch with each other.
I call this the PPP model, which is not public-private partnership, but it's being pragmatic, being positive, and being progressive. And thank you for ratifying that. Talk us through Dr. Choudhary. you've had an exemplary career. Talk us through about that career. What have been the high points? What have been the learning?
Shimla University, we call it at where nature nurtures young mind. I would have been very happy to show the kind of environment we are. This is the most conducive place where you can study and evolve yourself as a professional person. This is very professional universities having a multidisciplinary courses. We are very innovative. We are one of the leading university of the world who has implemented outcome-based education systems, where end of the semester we are able to calculate the in a quantitative way the outcome of the learning and teaching practices in terms of the student satisfaction, in terms of the teachers' achievement, and so on.
How lovely to know that. And talk us through Dr. Ramesh Choudhary. You've had a very interesting and exemplary personal career. And the reason I asked this to talk us through your career, the highlights and the learnings, simply because there are a lot of other academicians who aspire to become vice chancellors and as famous as you.
As a academicians, means you have a very good publications, you have a very good illustrious resume, you might have it. But if you want to be claim yourself as a broad academician, if you think students at first, you are the true academicians, because you are once you are feeling yourself educationist, in your mind always students should come first, because they are coming with a very high hope to you. They are giving you an opportunity to shape their career. How the best you can do for your students? Maybe it's academics, maybe it's a personal growth, maybe it's a personal taking care, maybe connectivity to the parents. You always think that you are made for the students. Your business is a students, so you should always think towards your students, how you can give the best to your students.
Broadly, what you're saying is that the focus has to be on the subject of education and on teaching and on learning while you're teaching and teaching while you're learning, because once that symbiotic relationship develops, I mean, everything else is a byproduct and excellence is bound to happen.
Because you remember, we are from a country of India where the value of Guru is bigger than God. Guru Gobind dono khare ka ko lagu paye, Baliyadi or Guru ko jisne Gobind ko bataya. You should always keep the piousness of these professions. You always understand and realize the kind of belief system of the parents and the students of the teacher.
It sounds very good. It sounds very noble, and all of us enjoy when we hear these things in the field of education. But we cannot distance ourselves from the fact that education is also a business. And now, as a business, as a commercial enterprise, education is challenged, particularly at a time when the reports that come in, parents are not willing to pay fees for their children. They feel that enough education is not being imparted. Schools, institutions should not be charging them the monies. On the other hand, the institutions say that they've got to pay their salaries. So there's a bit of a log jam on that. Would you like to, throw your inputs on that?
Chetan, you are right. The things has been changed. We are living in a different world. But still, teaching is a very novel profession. It is not money oriented the way it has been projected recently with the private education system. And of course, every relationship has a give and take. You are not working just for your payment or just for the salary which you are drawing. You are working for the benefit of the students. And there are other professions where this kind of the sentiment and emotions are not there. Again, this is some irresponsible statement has been made. You have to understand the irony of the education sector. You cannot say that you don't take anyone. Recently, the High Court of the Punjab has given. This was, I believe, a sentimental or emotional statement has been issued, and that has created confusion. The private educational institutions are not given any funding, any support by anybody. Even the packages which has been government has announced, it is not, no way it is benefiting to the educational sector. And then you are expecting that educational institutions should fulfill its commitment. Where? So we have to understand, and it should be win-win situations.
Absolutely.
Edumate has a very nice endeavor, I believe, where actually we are connecting with the educational leader and talking and understanding the challenges and the way the educational sector has basically encountered this pandemic. And then you are trying to understand the vision plan. So I must congratulate Chetan and Edumate, and I wish you very good luck. And I highly appreciate your initiative. The kind of the questions you have raised is really appreciable. And I believe that these kind of the brainstorming sessions, these kind of the discussions will definitely give a better shape to the education sector in this hard time. Thank you, Chetan.